Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND, and today I wanted to tell you a really quick and easy way where you can gauge the process of your recovery, where you are in your recovery at any moment of the day. Very, very simple. So the amount of your disregarding, the amount of how much you're pushing through is the same amount of how far you are in the process of recovery. So if you are pushing through, say 80% of the time, 90% of the time, you can say that your recovery is going full force and the full recovery is not very far away. Depending on, it's not exactly like that because, of course, if you have a lot of compulsions to undo, a lot of obsessions to undo, even if pushing full speed, it might take a little bit of time. But generally, this is the case. If you're pushing full speed, you are going as fast as you can possibly go in your recovery, and you are getting closer and closer to full recovery. If you are doing mostly paying attention, mostly doing compulsions, mostly taking the thoughts seriously, analyzing, figuring it out, asking for reassurance, then you are still very far away from the recovery. If you're somewhere in the middle, you are somewhere in the middle of the process, and every moment of the day, you have a choice. You can choose to push through, or you can choose to give in. And every time you give in, you're taking the responsibility of taking a step back. And every time you take a step back, you make OCD recovery harder. You're prolonging your suffering. And it's something that you're going to have to undo in the future. So this step back, you will have to make an extra step forward to convince the brain that these thoughts are irrelevant, because you can only convince the brain that the thoughts are irrelevant through action, through disregarding. So if you paid attention, you have to disregard more now. So you have to look, again, I know people don't like to hear the word accountability, but there needs to be accountability for how much you are giving into compulsions, for how much time you are spending on analyzing. It can't be just like, oh, I just gave in. No, you have to be accountable for each and every time you are doing it, because every time you are doing it, you are taking steps back, which prolongs the recovery, which makes it worse for you, which continues your suffering. I always tell clients, haven't you suffered enough? Why are you making yourself suffer more? I think you've suffered enough. Let's try not to do it that way. Let's try to push through now, you know? Because that is the truth of it. I remember when I was going through it and how much I've suffered. And I can tell you that at some point you have to stand up for yourself and say, enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I've had enough. I'm done. I don't care what thought comes in. I don't care what compulsion uh, my brain is making me do. What are these horrible, horrible consequences that it will say? I've had enough. I'm done. I'm pushing through. And you have to be tough with yourself, because if you're not tough with yourself, you're gonna give in. You know, it's like a match. One of you is gonna win. It's either gonna be you or it's gonna be OCD. So which one is it gonna be? And it's okay if you fail sometimes. It's okay if you lose a little bit, but you have to be strong and increasingly stronger. Everybody starts out from the weakest possible point where OCD has, beat the person down. That's usually the default position for when they start fighting. But every day you have to do as much as you possibly can do, continuously gaining the strength and moving up in the recovery process. Again, going back to, if you started out at zero resisting, right? You're just giving into every single compulsion that comes in. You are at the very first stage, not even stage, at the very first step of the recovery, right? And then as you keep going, sometimes it's 50-50. Okay, now we're getting into it, right? So this is the process. This is the process for absolutely everybody who's going through it. Nobody just starts out and is like, oh, I should just disregard. Okay, I'll do this all the time. In theory, yes. In practice, it doesn't work like that. You gain that momentum, you gain that strength as you go, but you really have to push. You really have to take it seriously. I can tell you, in terms of talking to clients, the people that recover the fastest are, and again, this is 10 years of experience, right? The people that recover the fastest are the people that put everything else on hold and start taking the recovery as the absolute number one priority. And I don't mean actually like quit jobs or quit school or something like that. No, they do all that because the main job of doing the recovery work is to focus on your real life. So you're focusing on real life and doing everything, but you're doing it with the intent that the recovery is number one priority. And as soon as you feel that thought coming in or that urge to do a compulsion come in, you're on it. You're not letting the thought get into your psyche. It can come in, but you're not actually engaging it. It's like a train, right? Where the train can come and go, but you don't have to get on it. You don't have to take it seriously. You don't have to pay attention to it. You don't have to view it as a big deal. These thoughts, they're just coming and going. It's okay. 50,000 thoughts a day. Getting all kinds, right? And who cares? And I'm disregarding and I'm moving forward. And doing that all the time, you will see that it will start to get easier. You will start to progress faster, you know? But if you ask yourself, this is the key point, that at the end of each day, you have to ask yourself, did I do everything I could possibly do to fight OCD? And you have to answer yes, day after day after day, you know? This has to be the number one priority. If it's not going to be the number one priority, you're going to go step forward, step back, step forward, step back, because you're not really putting all of your effort into it, all of your attention. And if you feel like I am putting my attention into it, in disregarding, and it's still not working, then take a look at where the mistake is being made. Maybe it's a systematic mistake that's happening somewhere in terms of how you are reacting. Maybe you're missing something in how, maybe you're reacting to something that you're not noticing you're reacting to, right? So if there is an issue and you feel like something is missing, fix it. If you feel like you're just not putting enough effort, put more effort. If you feel like you're too stressed out, too busy, can't deal with it, make this the priority. This is the only thing that matters, because if you don't fix this, everything else will little by little start to fall apart. So you need to fix this. I hope you find my videos helpful. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you would like to do the one-on-one recovery program with me, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.